Hi, everyone. I'm the global CISO of Pellera Technologies. My name's Sean Colicchio. Now, I'm here to talk to you about Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And you may be saying, not this again. We just went through this last year. Well, I'm here to explain that Cybersecurity Awareness Month in 2025 is still extremely relevant. And as the CISO here, I'm personally committed to not just securing our organization, but our users and by extension, our clients. And so I'm here to explain that security culture is a proactive part of the journey that we're about to work through together here. So let's talk a little bit about psychology and the psychology behind cyber risk. So threat actors, they leverage psychological principles that are built in all of us that you may not even know about. And that is why they're so successful time and time again with things as simple to spot as phishing. So these psychological principles like urgency, reciprocity, quid pro quo, these are all principles baked into why phishing is successful. The reason you click the link is because you have to act now or the offer expires. Phishing emails is one example, but social engineering through impersonation or business email compromise is another way that we see that happen. And then we even see emerging threats, as you all probably have seen in the headlines with AI, not just attacking AI models and having them, hallucinate or spit back inaccurate information, but also leveraging AI to create more volume of a threat from a threat actor, so more phishing emails to raise the likelihood of success, or to raise the sophistication of a single email. It used to be that the red flags for an email were grammatical errors, and now if the email is too perfect, maybe that's a red flag. So understanding what these psychological principles are and why they work will help defend against the next emerging technology, whether or not it's AI derived. And that's where a great awareness program focuses on the end users and the human element and fostering a huge amount of culture within the organization. So people feel compelled to surface issues early and often. And not just so that there's an opportunity to learn and there's corrective action and curtailing risk, but also to highlight and celebrate who are the champions in the business. Can you give them a gift card or can you give a small group a gift card so they talk to people about, oh, here's the positive experience I had supporting the security team by reporting an email that was phishing. So that's a great example of a token that businesses can offer to users that will help foster that culture that we just talked about. And that's why a great awareness program is not just about incentivizing individuals, but it's about bringing real human materiality to them. So you can help the average person understand what these risks are so that they're compelled to follow the rules even before they even know them because they understand the reasoning behind it. And so as we wrap up Cybersecurity Awareness Month this year, I want to encourage everyone to take a few simple steps to curtail risk and to proactively defend yourself and your organization against these threats. Number one is multi-factor authentication, period, point blank. Every account you have should have MFA enabled or multi-factor authentication, and that allows you to protect yourself against things like weak passwords or password reuse if your passwords are already leaked out there on the dark web. So use MFA everywhere, especially your email, because your email is typically the first step for an attacker because then they can get to every account you ever use that email for. Next is a strong, unique password set for every single service you subscribe to and every application you have. So this means that your password should be different for Amazon, as eBay, as your corporate password, as Facebook. And there are naming conventions you can use to make that easier to remember. However, it's much easier to use a password manager. You can use a password manager to store all these passwords and proactively suggest passwords get added to new services. That way, you don't have to remember them. They're all unique and they're fully encrypted when they're stored in that password vault, which is different than storing them locally in your browser. When your browser pops up and says, would you like to save this password? I caution you to do that because that means your password are stored in a list in one location on your machine, probably not encrypted. And if an attacker ever gets to that workstation, it's one of the first things they will collect and then reuse immediately. You want to also report phishing attempts. This is less personal advice and more company advice for end users that work in an organization that has a security program. But from a CISO's perspective, early reporting is the number one most impactful way to minimize a breach impact. And so being able to report early and often is huge. So reporting an email is the number one way to minimize breach impact. And that should be early and often reporting, cultivated by proactive awareness of how to report, who to report to, and what consequences happen after that. Keep your software up to date. This seems like a no-brainer in 2025, but most software has an auto update feature. Your operating system has an auto update feature. You can schedule it so it would only reset or reboot during outage windows, your own personal time, which would be weekends. And that way, when you show up on Monday, everything's up to date and patched. So that's strongly recommended personally and professionally. And when you're traveling, be very cautious. Wi-Fi, USB charging ports, mobile device attacks via QR codes, these are all very real and are becoming one of the easiest ways to compromise an organization. So we really want to highlight the fact that cybersecurity, although those are really technical tips, cybersecurity is a human problem. And so we need humans to solve it. And so being able to tailor security awareness training to the individual's roles or provide custom training for very specific threat types that you're seeing is exactly how you can get away from that fog of awareness training and annual training that people see the word training and they just sigh, okay, here's another X amount of hours of my life I have to waste. The reality is if you make it powerful and you make it material to them and you can bring something relatable like a headline and you can make it something they can understand, well, this is how you really get traction in the culture. And so being able to perform a tabletop exercise, as an example, is something we do often. And that conditions teams with different threat types so you can take a headline that just popped up and defensively weaponize it inside your organization to be conditioned against that type of threat. So that helps everybody understand what security is and that it's not just bells and whistles and ones and zeros. It's really the importance of staying secure, helps you personally, helps protect your family, helps protect your livelihood and the organizations we work for. So remember, employees are not the weakest link in security. They're, in fact, the actual strongest defense that we can possibly have as an organization. And so keeping people personally invested in that training and personally invested in the outcomes of security is how this type of program will succeed. And so, I'd like to invite everybody to explore our Cybersecurity Awareness Month hub on the Pellera website. And that hub will allow you to subscribe to the monthly threat intelligence newsletter, which is curated by our threat experts monthly and will provide you a distilled summary of what happened that month. So you can quickly see what's material to your business and you could subscribe to that for a monthly recurring ingest, if you will, of threat intelligence to your security program. And so again, remember, security isn't just a technical problem. It's a person problem. It's a human problem. And we need humans to be able to help defend against it and solve it. So with that, thank you so much. Happy Cybersecurity Awareness Month and stay safe out there.